So as we all know, I have been getting into movies over the last couple of years. A lot of classic franchises that I've never watched. And one that I've been going through recently is the Die Hard series. And I watched yesterday Die Hard with a Vengeance, aka Die Hard 3. You know, real quick, first of all, I hate this bullshit when movie companies or whatever, you know, like, just call it Die Hard 3, motherfucker. Like, if you want to have, like, Die Hard with a Vengeance, like, aka Die Hard 3, that's fine. Or Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, I get it. But just put a 3 in there, like, just for me, right? Just for my sake, okay? Because, like, figuring out what order to watch these movies in is just, honestly, it's a little ridiculous. But anyway, it's Die Hard 3. And I'm going to be honest, I think this one might be better than the first one. I think. I'm not sure. I think the first one has a way better vibe to it. I think. But the scale of this one, I really enjoyed. I think it's absolutely better than the second one. But anyway, so Die Hard 1 and 2, right, they all take place in, like, a contained area, right? Like, you know, Die Hard 1 is in the tower. Die Hard 2 is at the airport. Die Hard 3 is, like, we're in the entire city of New York City. Like, the whole city is the playing field. And I think that opens up the film in a really interesting direction, and I love it. I love the fact that Bruce Willis is, like, hungover the whole movie. I think he acts that part really well. Now, again, I've never had a hangover before in my life. I don't know. I've got alcoholic genes, I guess. Never had a hangover, so I don't know what that is. But I love that he's constantly asking people for aspirins. It's really funny. It's just a great movie. Samuel Jackson in this movie is extremely good, as almost every movie he is in. He is extremely good all the time. He's very good. In this movie, he's, in my opinion, he's probably better than Bruce Willis in this movie. Samuel Jackson, like, every line, it was great. It was great. But anyway, so this movie, the plot is, like, there's a brother now of the villain from the first movie, and he wants to fuck around with John McClane because, you know, revenge or whatever. And then they find out, he was just doing that just for fun as a side hustle while he was stealing, like, gold from the Federal Reserve, something like that. And he's, like, planting bombs around the city. And, like, the thing I love about this movie is it reminds me of, like, a Grand Theft Auto game. Like, you're running around New York City, not you, but Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson are running around New York City, like, going to payphones, right? Like, you know, they have to get a car. There's the one scene where they drive a taxi through Central Park. That was great. That was funny. I wish he would have, like, hit a couple people, though, just to make it a little bit more interesting. But, like, they're driving, like, cars around the sidewalks, and it's just great. They're just destroying hot dog stands. It's just really fun to watch. And then, of course, I love the explosions, right? Like, just in, like, giant city you would never be able to see a movie like this after 9/11. Let me tell you, 9/11 destroyed the fucking art industry, right? They were blowing bombs up in schools. You can't see that anymore. They were blowing bombs up. Like, you could see the Twin Towers, which ripped, by the way. You know, again, it's just great. I love explosions. I love blowing up civilian infrastructure. It's just really fun. I love the subway bombing section of this movie, where, like, the train gets bombed and then the fucking, like, whole, like, city, like, floor collapses in because, you know, it's just great. All the infrastructure gets destroyed. It's a really good fucking movie. I enjoyed watching this movie. I think the pacing of this movie was really good. I love that it was kind of like, you know, like the main villain was, like, playing a game. It's kind of like a Saw kind of thing going on. But it was all just a big distraction for the fact that he's got the grand heist, you know. And one thing about this movie as well is that in the first two movies, right, the cops are kind of like the villains. Like, John McClane is the only good cop, and that's kind of the whole way that the first two movies go, is that all the cops are bad and garbage, and everything that they do just makes the situation worse. But in this movie, the cops are somewhat less incompetent. Like, overall, they're still a net negative. Like, that one scene where Samuel L. Jackson is trying to go onto a payphone, and then the white cop is, like, threatening to shoot him because he's a black person, but he has to answer the phone, otherwise, like, you know, the school's gonna get bombed or whatever, right? I thought that, you know, that was, again, showing how cops are just incompetent assholes. But, you know, overall, I think the cops in this movie, a little too competent, in my opinion. I would have preferred if they were a little bit worse. because it's just more realistic. The cops being garbage and being a net negative and hurting every situation instead of helping, that's the reality. That's the real world. And I think Die Hard 1 and 2 did that a pretty good way. Die Hard 3 is a little bit too pro-cop, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Anyway, I love this movie. I thought it was super fun. It's one of those movies that's hard to kind of review. It's, I can talk about the scenes, but it was just a really fun movie to watch. Like every plot point from all the games that they were playing to the grand heist and the ending, it was all good. It was just very enjoyable, very fun to watch. It was very breaking the formula of Die Hard 1 and 2. Again, those movies take place in one concentrated area. This movie is you're in the whole fucking city of New York City, and I think that that's pretty fun. I love the idea of the terrorists threatening to blow up a school. That's pretty cool. But anyway, great movie. I'm into it. I'm excited to watch Die Hard 4 and 5. I don't know anything about them. But is it possible that they can continue being this good? Because so far I'm very impressed with the Die Hard films. I'm not that big on action movies in general. But Die Hard 1, exceptional. Die Hard 2, very good. Die Hard 3, also pretty, very good to exceptional. Right? Die Hard 4, Die Hard 5, I don't know. And again, it's unfortunate there's not going to be a Die Hard 6, obviously, because Bruce Willis is retired. But I'm into this series. I'll watch them all. They're all on Hulu right now, so I've just been going through them every once in a while. I'm in. So again, I would have preferred if they just called them Die Hard 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 69. But they got all these meme titles. Whatever. But anyway, I'm into it. Good movie. I like it. And we'll see what Die Hard 4 is all about at some point in the future, whenever I decide to watch it. Don't fucking spoil it. I don't care what you think about 4 and 5 in the chat room. I don't care. You're making me go in. You're poisoning the well. I don't give a shit about 4 and 5 until I watch it. I am vehemently anti-spoiler. I don't want to know any general perception of a film before I watch it. I don't want to know anything. I want to watch a film with as little information as possible. That's my opinion on all film in general. Anyway, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying, I don't care about what you think about 4 and 5. It affects me negatively to read that. But anyway, there you go.